Sounds Production. What up, sound? What up, sound?
Those juice boxes going. Welcome to the Red Room Talk. I'm your girl, Jen and Juice. We're going to go ahead and get started here in just a moment. Go ahead and line up if you are on the show. This is a show where we talk about love, relationships, and interpersonal relationships and intimacy. So go ahead and I'm going to get started. I'm going to let you guys in the box to introduce yourself. We're just waiting on one person. Welcome.
What up?
Hi. Hi, fellas.
What's going on with it? Hello.
Pleasure to be here.
Thank you all for coming. I appreciate you. We're just waiting on one person, but you go ahead and get started. You can all introduce yourselves. Go ahead and go clockwise. Started with you, Rashad.
All right. It's OG Shad. I go by Rashad or Shad. I stream usually 3 times a day, but you know what I'm saying? My schedule's been kind of crazy, but you can find me morning and night. I basically talk about, random topics. I like to have a little fun and everything too. Big supporter of Jen. I love it here. Vote the best show on tag. You're going to love it here too. So you know what I'm saying. Appreciate everybody that's pulling up in here, and it's a blessing. I'm out. Appreciate that, King.
Yeah, it's your boy G Way. Y'all already know what it is. G Way or no way around here. Y'all can catch me every Monday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, doing the Hood Feud thing going down on here. Also, I be on the Get Lit show, also as a judge every Thursday, the longest running music show on the app. We get lit every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Pretty much y'all can catch me like 9 o'clock, like at night. Like if you're supposed to be asleep and you ain't sleep, you can catch me like pretty much in the low low. Yeah.
Hi.
What's good? It's RDS here, Rich Dark Skin. Um, I don't really stream too much. I'm more of like a supporter, all around friend. You know what I'm saying? You'll catch me mostly like in King of Diamonds live. Um, I also recruit for Getting Lit on Thursdays. But outside of that, I don't. I mean, oh yeah, I'm a rapper. I almost forgot to say that I'm a rapper. You can catch me on YouTube, Ravo Music, RAVO space music.
That's
Yeah.
what's up.
That's what's up.
All right, Teddy, go ahead and get in the box.
She said, "Oh yeah,
What's going on, Speedy? I see you.
Montana."
Well, I guess while we're waiting, well, I'm Jen and Juice. I am the hostess with the mostest. I do the Red Room Talk. I do trivia on Tuesdays. I have a new game show coming up soon. It's called What Did You Say? And then I have some other things coming up soon. But tonight we are getting deep into talking about toxic relationships. As soon as we get Ted, we'll go ahead and get started with the first question. So we can go ahead and wait for her to.
For their love too.
Hold on.
Appreciate
Hey,
that.
you guys seen the roses. Appreciate you. I faded everybody I could.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Shout out to the room.
I normally favor everybody at the end.
Yeah, don't be afraid to comment. Go ahead and get with it. Comment, answer questions, ask questions in the comments. Get active in those comments. I guess I'm gonna go ahead and start with the first question while we're waiting.
Yeah. Oh shit. Oh shoot. Excuse me, y'all.
That was funny. I'm
I
sorry.
would be
Yeah,
the
that
one.
was hilarious.
Okay, for the first question, what are some of your relationship red flags and deal breakers? Now we'll go ahead and go in a circle. We'll start with you, Rashad.
All right. Couple red flags for me. Well, the biggest one is communication. I'm big on that. So, you know how you got a job, you know, no call, no show. Kind of look at it kind of like that, you know what I'm saying? If you can go 24 hours without talking to me, you know what I'm saying, on any type of level, then you know that's a flag. Because I mean, you ain't gotta let me know your every move. But I mean, if something's going on, let me know. I'm understanding. You feel me? Let me feel free to let me make my own decisions, but you know, keep me informed. Communication. I'm big on that. Another one is the concept of time. We all got things to do, but we always gonna make time for what we want. So you know what I'm saying? You crunching in trying to figure out this other time, man. You know, I'm not asking, you know, for hours and hours. You know what I'm saying? But a little time counts. But that's just a couple for me. Deal breakers. If you don't like kids, women, you can't be around me. I got 2 children. I want more. They my world. You feel me? If you don't like kids, I ain't bringing you around you. I ain't even messing with you. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna leave you alone. Because I love children. If you don't want children, that's definitely a major deal breaker for me.
Deal breaker for me is hygiene. You have to wash your behind. Like, yo, that is big. Like, you a female, you a woman, take care of that. Be right. Hygiene is everything. That is a huge deal breaker for me. Other than that, I agree with Shad. You know what I'm saying? Communication. Like you got to be able to communicate with one another. Like I'm on the road, like I drive a lot, so like I got to be able to reach out. Something can happen. You know what I'm saying? Like that. So I kind of agree both ways. So
For me, a deal breaker, one of the first things he said is communication for me. it's like if you can communicate, like I'm not asking to know all your whereabouts, but like you can at least communicate with me. And like also it was a thing too also about kids because I got one. So you gotta know that it when you dealing with me, you dealing with two of us. That's for long term. You know, I'm not asking that at the beginning or nothing like that, but yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I had some technical difficulties.
It's okay. Go ahead and introduce yourself. And then the question we are on is, what are some of your relationship red flags and deal breakers?
All right. So I'm She Tatted. Thank you. Thank you, King. I do the Tatted trials every Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern Time. No, 8 p.m. Sorry. 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Um, what's the question one more time?
What are some of your relationship red flags and or deal breakers?
Ooh, relationship red flags. Um, Deal breakers. Damn. I don't. Damn, red flags. Okay. Somebody that's too busy that doesn't answer when I call. That's a red flag. If I know they're working, I won't call during their working hours. But if you don't answer after work hours and you don't return my call, that's a red flag. Deal breakers, I'm gonna go with yes, it's tatted. What's good? What's good? Um, Deal breakers, I don't deal with people that can't handle their alcohol. That's my number one deal breaker.
Mm.
All right. Go around the room. For me, definitely consistency. Don't introduce me to a vibe that you cannot maintain. And definitely always being honest and truthful. Um, I need someone who I know at the end of the day, no matter what, no matter how hard it is always going to be honest. Um, I feel like a lot of times we want to save people's feelings, but I would much rather someone be upfront and honest, even if it hurts, because I know you care enough to tell me the truth. All right, if you're just pulling up, this is the Red Room Talk every Saturday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The question we just asked are, what are some of your relationship red flags and deal breakers? Go ahead and get active in them comments. Next question is, why do people stay in toxic relationships?
I'm going to say it all depends. People sometimes rely or depend. You get so used to certain stuff, you depend on someone, or you feel like you don't have a way out, or you don't want to start over. It's so many excuses for why people stay in situations. Um, I guess it all depends on who you are. Only you can determine how much you're going to deal with and how much you're willing to go through. But it's all on the person in their situation. I mean, because for me, honestly, I stayed with the mother of my kids 3 years too long. I should have been going, after we had our first one. But I stayed because of that, and we ended up having another one. And then after that, I just realized like having children wasn't even enough to keep me in a relationship. I wasn't happy, you know what I'm saying? So I had enough at that point. I chose me. I'm still around for my children. I still do for them. But at that point, I had finally had enough, and I chose myself. So I guess it all depends on you.
All right.
I had to somewhat agree. Pretty much, I mean, most people stayed in toxic relationships because you got a lot of people that's scared to be alone. They don't want to be alone. They want that companion. You also have people that stay in a relationship, like he said, because they got kids together. They want to have that family, that perfect marriage or whatever. It just varies between everybody, really. But for the most part, I mean, like, I don't know. Some people, you just got to look at it and see that they can't live without that other person, or like when they're not with that other person, they feel like they can't function because they've put so much into that person. So it's a lot of different reasons. So that's just my stilo and how I look at it.
Well, speaking from experience, I'm gonna say because I stayed with somebody for 10 years, which is the father of my child or whatever. But for me, I think I stayed that long because like really kind of like what both of them said. Like I didn't know how to leave. Like I wasn't disabled. Like there's no reason why I couldn't get out and go get it. Like I spent a lot of my years like listening to that person. So it really was kind of like I was like he was leading me, but leading me in the wrong direction, if I could say that. And I was so dependent on him to where I didn't know I could do it on my own. So I think that's the main reason why I stayed. Not that I couldn't survive without him because I always had a supportive family, but it was like I'm so used to following up behind this dude and not really knowing what I got going for myself. That's about it. Yeah.
Ooh, I think everybody got valid points. I think the main reason though people stay in toxic relationships is because everybody wants to be the person to change somebody. Like they want to be the one that said, "Yo, I got him to change. I got her to change." And at the end of the day, like you can't teach an old dog new tricks. It is what it is. Take them for face value. But everybody wants to be like, "Yo, I did that. He changed for me. I'm the one that made him change." And it is what it is. At the end of the day, I've always hated that saying, "It is what it is." But yo, it is what it is. They show you who they are, take it for what they are. So I think that's why people stick around because they want to be the one to say, "I made him change. I made him stop cheating. I made him change his ways, change her ways." And in all reality, most of the time they are who they are. You got to take them for what it is.
Earlier in the comments, I seen that Big Man said low self-esteem. I think a lot of times people with low self-esteem stay in situations because I think they can't do any better. Um, I remember I talked about this last episode, but the quote from the uh, the Wallflower, where they said, "Why do people let people treat them bad?" And he's like, "Because we accept the love we think we deserve." And I think oftentimes people think they just can't do any better. Um, I think that's one. And then also, I think Vive said something about trauma bonding, and I think often people who are both have been in traumatic relationships and then they bond through that. They don't know any better, so they got this bond because they're scared to like not be with each other. That like something might happen if they split up, or they're not going to be happy, or they're afraid that that something like what if I leave and then he decides to be a good man? It's always like that mustard seed of hope that you think is going to change somebody or that you think is going to like make some difference. What do you guys all think about that?
I wanted to touch on the whole change someone because I mean I'm not going to say I agree 100%. My reason is this: um, you can think you're changing a person, in all actuality, they're just finding a way to adapt to what you're placing before them. You know what I'm saying? They're going to find a way to do whatever it is that they want to do. And that's the thing about people. You have to allow people to be people and be who they are. But once you start trying to change someone, you're thinking you're changing them, and all they're doing is just adapting to what you're placing in front of
Facts.
True, true. But it's still that mindset that you wanna be that one. Like I had to agree with that. I didn't even think of that from that aspect. You want to be that person that when a motherfucker come up and be like, man, that motherfucker used to, but that motherfucker ain't like that no more. Like no, like I mean, excuse that person ain't like that no more. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people chase that trying to change somebody thing, that aspect that they gotta change this person, they gotta change this person. So they just keep sticking around trying to change that person.
Mhm.
Some people just aren't going to, and people aren't going to change if they don't want to change anyway. So you can't make anybody do anything at the end of the day.
What was your add-on question?
Um,
You just had you asked something.
I said, what do you guys think about that? Like, because I said, I think often people are trauma bonding. Like they stay together because they've built a bond through
Yeah.
both being through things, so they're like afraid to be apart because they think if they split up that, what if tomorrow he decides, you were the woman for me. You are this special woman, and I'm sorry. I know that this has been this and this is so. It's not even just him. It could be a her. It kind of
Right.
goes both ways, but just in my example. But I think often we have like that mustard seed of hope that someone is going to change just for us, or someone's going to like all of a sudden realize like this epiphany that they didn't get in the 6 years you were together, or
Right.
however many years you were together. If they didn't get that epiphany, then I'm pretty sure they're not going to get that epiphany later. You know what I mean? Not saying, because sometimes it takes you to leave someone to understand, or someone uh to really grasp what they've
Yeah.
done.
Yeah, it's always
Yeah.
different. Like you would think just because you went through something with this person that you can try to change what's gonna happen with this person, but it's not even really the case. It's never the case.
Yeah.
No, it
Every
really
case
not.
seems to be different. Even though they may have similarities, they always seem to be different.
Yeah. Agreed.
If you're just pulling up, this is Red Room Talk every Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We just talked about what are some relationship red flags and deal breakers, and why do people stay in toxic relationships. Keep those comments going. The next question is toxic versus crazy. What is the difference?
Ooh.
Not everybody getting quiet.
Everybody made the same face, like,
I think it's only right that Tad has the floor on this one.
I'll start it off. I
You
don't
can
mind.
go this way.
I would
I'll
love to
start
hear
it
the
off.
woman's
help,
perspective
help
for
me
this one.
out,
Go ahead.
please.
Oh, okay. For me, toxic versus crazy. If you're toxic, I feel like it means like you do shit to purposely get a reaction. Like you're purposely doing things to get a reaction from your spouse, to make sure you're noticed, to make sure you're relevant, to make sure they know you're there and that you're doing something outrageous. Like you're toxic, like you're doing shit to get a react. I'm sorry, you're doing stuff to get a reaction. Excuse my language. Crazy, on the other hand, crazy is like a mental state. When you do something crazy, it's like you don't even think about it. Like you're doing stuff based off of somebody's actions. You hit that like you don't even know you're doing it. You're doing something out of like, I don't want to say it's like a natural reaction. Like you do something crazy, you're doing something because they did something to you. And that's just how you naturally react. Toxic people, they do that stuff on purpose. They do things to get a reaction. They do things to make sure you know that they see what you're doing and you're being seen. So that's my definition of toxic versus crazy. Trill, yeah, Trill's toxic.
Mhm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. But
Well,
that's my
my
definition of toxic versus crazy.
toxic
I'm gonna
versus
say
crazy.
mine. It's my turn, G-Way. You gotta hold on.
I said
Okay.
Tell
toxic versus crazy. I don't know. I
tell
ain't trying to take nobody's turn. I'm trying to listen.
Okay, so for me, toxic is when like y'all may not be all the way right for each other, or it may be certain things that you can't tolerate about that person. So y'all may be like y'all get into it, or that person bring out this bad side of you, but yet you turn right around and forgive them and run back to them. For me, that's toxic. Like when you know you gonna keep doing this cycle, but you keep coming back. And crazy to me is when like any little thing, like you get upset and do like stupid irrational stuff. To me, I think that's crazy.
Salute, salute. Me personally, I think they one and the same. Me personally, I think they one and the same. Like toxic people equal most people that you know that are toxic have a side of them that they are crazy. Because I know some people that like might pick a fight just because they think it's funny or just want to see what your reaction is going to be or to get a rise up out of you. But and then at the same time, once they get that rise up out of you, oh, next thing you know, they're lashing out. You know, so I think it's one of the same. I think it's one of the same. Toxic people probably do a little bit for more fun, but at the end of the day, it ends up being crazy because somebody's feelings is gonna get hurt regardless. So
Rashad.
um, forgive me, people. I'm not really big on the urban term toxic people. Because honestly, I feel like everybody got some shit with them. You feel me? I mean, excuse me, everybody got some stuff with them. Everybody, you feel me? It's on you how you define however they display it, whether it's gonna be toxic or crazy. That's just my generalization of the situation. People do stuff for attention. People do stuff, you know what I'm saying, that aggravate you, trying to stop the situation, stuff like that. But I guess it's on you to define it. Crazy when you see crazy, Everybody knows somebody that's crazy. If not, something's wrong. I can give you ample examples, but the whole toxic thing, I guess, is just what you just choose to define it as.
right.
Agreed. I think toxic is like she said, is more of a choice, and crazy is kind of like against your own inner thoughts. Like you know what you're doing is wrong, but you can't help yourself because it's such like you're an emotional pull. Like it's your emotions getting the best of you. Whereas toxic, you know what you're doing. It's like premeditated. You know what you're doing is wrong, but you still choose to do it even though you know it's wrong. Um, yeah, I think we all kind of come to that conclusion. It's kind of they kind of go hand in hand a little bit though. Um, but I definitely feel like toxicity is a choice and crazy is kind of against your own choice.
Okay, I can
Yeah.
agree with that because I was gonna say that when y'all saying it's this kind of the same, I'm gonna say no because I ain't crazy. I might be a little toxic, but I'm not crazy.
But you done did some crazy stuff though.
I don't do that. I don't do none of that crazy stuff. I mean, I don't know what you consider crazy.
See, exactly. It's on what you
See what I
No,
define it
mean? There's
as.
no,
It's
levels
like
on
of
for
what
real,
it's
like
on
crazy.
what you define
It's,
it.
it's
You know
there's
no,
what
but
I'm
I'm
levels.
saying?
like if you
Yeah.
consider crazy as being stuff like me talking to you crazy but you provoke me for me to talk to you crazy, then yeah. But I'm not that one that's gonna like scratch your car, like flatten your tires, even like pull up. I don't pull up. Now if you take me there to where I have to
See,
pull up, I
look,
will.
look.
But I haven't had to pull up yet.
Take me to the king.
I haven't had to pull up yet. So, and I've been in some messed up situations where I should have pulled up, but no, I haven't done it yet. So
She said,
Oh
"Truth
Lord.
is, I'm tired of your mess." No, I'm just kidding.
I can get tired, but yeah.
It's a little
Well, with
crazy in everybody.
that with that being said, what is your definition of a toxic relationship? And is there a good version of being toxic? Whew.
Okay, my version of a toxic relationship. Wanda and the crack pipe, you know what I'm saying? Holiday Heart. Jody and Yvette, baby boy. Um, I mean, I can give y'all examples. Y'all probably got an aunt or uncle, you know what I'm saying, who ain't supposed to be together. That everybody in their family talk about, you know what I'm saying. Hey, don't let so and so get together, it's gonna be a situation. So I don't know. But it's a good toxic. I can say a good toxic exists because there's some characteristics out here. People have things that they're into. Certain situations might turn you on, might light a spark. I'm thinking a good toxic exists, but you just gotta weed through all of the negative first. I don't know, like
Hmm.
who come up with that question?
So-
Like they think you
Right,
sat down
right. That
somewhere.
kind of stuff.
Like
Yeah. Toxic for me would be defined as like Ike and Tina. I guess you could throw that out there. Like
That
those
was a little
that,
crazy. That was a
yeah,
little,
but there's some people out there like
eat
that.
the
Like
cake,
they ain't
anime.
going nowhere at all.
Eat the cake.
Um, good toxic. I don't know. There's some relationships where toxic actually works. Like you said, it might be in a sexual way. Forget you. Oh, come here.
I
I
think we
guess
live
that
in a
could be good toxic. I have the PG rate that one, but yeah, I
idea.
guess that was my.
Yeah, so to me, the definition of toxic would be like just like he said, when you know you probably should have been left that person, but y'all keep coming back, either you or the other person, but y'all do stuff that might harm the other person, whether it's verbally or physically, but y'all keep coming back. But for me, I think I think there might be a good toxic. Like, if anything, if you and that person together, when y'all are together, y'all hitting y'all goals, or like, let's say y'all want to make a lot of money together, stuff like that, then I guess that'll be good toxic, as long as you can get what you're trying to do in life done with that person, then yeah. As long as it don't
I
mess up
hate
what
you,
you got
Jody.
going.
I hate you, Jody.
You don't love me no more, Jody. Why don't Jody love me no more? So we live in a society, I believe, that believes that there's the good toxic. I think it might, like he said, maybe in the bedroom or some sort like that. But I feel like it's just the society. I feel like it's not that's toxic in itself, that we even think that there's a good version of toxic. I mean, this is like a toxic thought to me. It's a toxic, thing in our generation to even think that toxicity is good. I think that's why we have so many toxic relationships. And it's like that song with Chinny, every time you try to leave, something keeps pulling me back, till, so it's like you're always going back to something you shouldn't be with,
Right.
It's the new norm though, so it's like, what can you?
Yeah.
It's gotta be a good version of it somewhere.
Right.
But it all is on what you classify as normal
I mean,
too,
there's
because a lot of
something,
y'all weirdos. To be
right.
honest with you, like a lot of y'all weirdos, y'all let certain stuff happen. Like, I don't play about me. So with that toxic stuff, like, I tend to, go on the straight and narrow. 'Cause I'm gonna defend me how I feel at all costs. I'm gonna let you know, so ain't gonna be no guessing. You know what I'm saying? No second thoughts and none of that. So I mean, it all depends on who you are.
Right. And what you willing to put up with.
I mean, the word toxic in itself should tell you there's nothing good that comes in that. The word itself is toxic.
It's
I mean, that's not good to your body. Toxicity is
Bad for you, right?
poison to you. It's poison to you. It's something that's not good for you. So I don't think you
I,
can
I,
really swing that as being a good thing.
yeah, I never heard of the good kind. Never heard of the good kind.
Um, do you? So if you're just pulling up, you're a little late, but that's okay. We still have more questions to come. It's the Red Room Talk every Saturday at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you pull up every Saturday. We have some good guests and we have some good topics every week. So for the next question, do you believe that toxic relationships are a result of pre-existing trauma?
I can go first.
By
I
all means.
I just been wanting to say that because I ain't got a chance to go first yet. So so
Go ahead.
yeah, it's because like it's kind of like our minds are influenced based off what we grew up seeing. So yeah, I think so.
I agree. 100%. It's, like just from daddy issues on down to parents not being there. That's your childhood's always gonna be an influence of what you look for in your adult life or grow accustomed to.
I'm going to have to agree 100%. I'm just going to go a little bit more below the surface. It all comes back to you knowing your worth and your value and what you're going to put up with. And it takes people, you know what I'm saying? That's the hard thing you can do is deep inside yourself, dissect yourself and be like, okay, we got to get this right. You know what I'm saying? Actually get in there and do that work. And that's the hardest part. A lot of people want to throw a band aid on, you know what I'm saying? Get back on, try with the next person, you know what I'm saying? Within the next moment. You haven't had time to heal. You haven't had time to go through the stages, the process, none of that. So I mean, yeah, I definitely have to agree.
For sure. For sure.
Yeah, I definitely think it's kind of a learned behavior. It's like in families, even. It's not even just in relationships, but it's like that circle. That circle that if it doesn't end with you, if you don't cause some sort of healing in your life, that it's going to be a circle that keeps like resonating in future relationships, or your children are going to see this, and then it's going to cause them a circle for them. So I think it's like this circle that we have to start healing. So we have to start recognizing within ourselves. So we have to ask in the very beginning of relationships the hard questions. First of all, have you been in a toxic relationship? How much work have you done to heal from your past relationship? Do you have any issues that are stemming from that, that we have, that you have to work on before? Because if you bring the bricks from your past relationship to your new relationship, you're going to build the same house that you was living in already. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, everyone is afraid to have the tough conversations. You are right, Aggie. But you have to make sure you have to like put yourself out there and not be afraid because the tough questions you don't ask today are going to be the tough things you're dealing with tomorrow. I think we're all so afraid to put ourselves out there, not knowing that you're really setting yourself up for failure down the road. I would rather know now that you don't fit the mold of what I'm looking for or what my needs are, that you don't, you don't fit the things that I need, my love languages. I would rather know that now than be 10 or 5 years down the road, 3 years down the road, even 10 years down the road and realize we weren't even compatible to begin with. You know,
Yeah.
definitely make sure that you're compatible, that you even want the same things in life, or you're going to find yourself in this relationship where you're trying to change each other and you could have just found someone who fit what you already like.
Facts. And I agree with that statement too, Aggie. Like them tough questions, they got to be asked. A lot of people don't want to discuss or feel like expressing emotion is them showing a weakness of themselves, and it's not. Those conversations have to be had in order for you to build and keep going forward. So I definitely agree with that statement.
I just feel like the effective communication has to be the biggest part of that because you can communicate all you want, but it has to be effective. You know what I'm saying? You got to get to the meat and potatoes of it. A lot of folks tend to, you know what I'm saying, what they call go tit for tat to actually having a conversation. You know what I'm saying? You want to bring up this and bring up that, but we still not handling the topic at hand. We just wasting time. So you got to be able to actually communicate, but do it effectively. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to give them the floor. You know what I'm saying? Be an adult about it, all the other shit, no feelings attached, all that shit to the side, and actually have a good conversation where the communication is there. You know what I'm saying? You're
Right.
not talking at someone, you're actually communicating.
Well said.
Oh yeah, because a lot of times people are talking just to hear themselves talk, or they're not listening. They're just talking to reply and not really actively listening. Like I might tell you in the beginning, I'm sorry, but I need a relationship. I need commitment. And then later you're like, well, I don't want a relationship, but you knew from the gate that I told you from the very beginning what I wanted. So if you're straying from that, then you were really the toxic one because you're trying to make something out of knowing that I didn't want that. That you knew what I want from the gate. I told you what I wanted. I told you, I asked the tough questions. And if you stray away from that, then it's really on you at that point. Because
Yeah.
I've stated the hard things that are hard to state. I've told you exactly what it was that I needed from you. So I think too, like your needs versus your wants, make sure that you have those in line, that you really understand yourself. That's why it takes you healing in between. It took me a long time in between relationships to make sure that I healed that part of myself, that toxic part, because you develop these things that kind of help you coping mechanisms. You develop coping mechanisms to kind of deal with the pain from toxic relationships. Anyway, if you're
Sometimes.
just pulling up, you've missed. If you're just pulling up, this is a Red Room Talk with Jen. So far, you've missed relationship red flags. Why do people stay in toxic relationships? Toxic versus crazy. We just now talked about what your definition of a toxic relationship and is there a good version. Also, what you have to look forward to is right now we're talking. I'm going to ask: can a toxic relationship be healed? Can a toxic relationship be healed?
Yes, it can. When you get on through and you realize that it's not going anywhere, but it's going to take somebody to be the bigger person. And most people say, "Oh, it's the hardest thing I ever had to do." Yeah, you're right because you're in an environment where the toxicity is breeding. You done gave all you can give and everything else. The only way that can be healed is to get away from it. That's the only way.
You said as
Mm,
a G-Way.
mm. Oh, yeah, I feel like a toxic relationship can be fixed, but it takes two. It can't be just one person. One person half the time in a toxic relationship, it is one person trying to fix it all the time. But if y'all get on the same page, I believe it can. But if not, it's best y'all just go y'all separate ways. I mean, everybody ain't meant for each other.
I'm gonna agree with what Raina said because, like, if it's so much damage to where you got some stuff that you can't forget about, then no. You can't that situation can't be healed. But if both of y'all, like G-Way said, both of y'all gotta be willing to put all that other stuff aside and let's do this, and we're gonna do it the right way. Then yeah, if y'all gonna do it the right way, then yeah, it can be. But I mean, I don't think most people do that. So
No. That's the
I
part where
mean,
you
it
preach it,
can,
y'all.
but yeah, but it's mostly a no. But it can happen. It's just rare, I think. Me personally.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. I think it can heal. I think you can heal in a toxic relationship, but it's definitely going to take that soul work. It's going to take a lot of you loving you. That's why I think it's so important for the most important person in the relationship to be yourself, and for their most important thing in the relationship is to be themselves, to love themselves, because at the end of it, you always have yourself. If you can always love yourself and they always love themselves, then your love together can grow. If you don't love yourself, it is going to be so easy to fall into those toxic relationships where you're being manipulated, or you, especially like an empath and a narcissist, that's like the God's made relationship, because it's going to, the narcissist loves an empath. A narcissist loves an empath. That's kind of like a match made in heaven for the narcissist. With that being said, what do you think drives a narcissist? What do you think creates a narcissist? A lot of our toxic relationships are ran by the power of a narcissist.
Enablement, not being able to call someone on their BS or being able to recognize certain signs, because a person is only going to do as much as you allow them to do. And if you're not willing to stand up for you, then you can't depend on nobody else to do it. I mean, you can, but that's something you have to do. Narcissists, they need weak people, weak-minded people, people who are easily able to be misguided, led astray. You know what I'm saying? And it's on you to actually do that work and be able to decipher what's going on. And most people are blind. You know, they call it love or whatever you want to call it. But sooner or later, you're gonna have to grow and be able to pick up on certain signs. But in order for a narcissist to survive in that environment, they're going to need enablement. They're going to need someone who doesn't know any better, as the old folks say. Appreciate that love.
I agree for that 110%. Ain't much more I can really add to that. He summed it all the way up, pretty much. I can't even add anything to it. I approve that message.
These messages are approved by your sponsor.
Gee, well, know it.
Ding. No.
Yeah, I think what and it was a narcissist. And forgive me if you just said this and I just said in different words. But like somebody who I think you did say you enabling their behavior. Like if you enabling that and you giving them what they want every time, of course, that's what's gonna
Right.
give them the fuel for their fire.
Definitely. I think a narcissist definitely feels himself on power,
Right.
especially when they're in a relationship with an empath. They are in deep need of that empath, because the empath runs off of emotion. So they know if they can manipulate their emotions, that they can manipulate the person. Often those jokes that they use, those funny ha-has, aren't jokes. That's their way of finding out if they can get under your skin in a joking way. And then when
Right.
they do say it in a real way, it's like, ooh, because they knew that when they said it as a joke that you took it. So if I could say it as a joke, now I can just inch closer and closer into making it something that's not a joke. Now it's
Kind of.
something real. Now I'm that's how they inch their way in.
Yep. Until you start believing in it.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's like you say something to someone so many times, they start to believe it, right? You start to tell
True.
yourself the same things that they've said several times. It's like repeating, even in a commercial, they say the same thing. You get two for $2.99, and da da da. So you say it over and over, and you're like, oh, for $2.99, I can get. You start to believe those things. This is the best thing on the market. They repeat themselves in a commercial, right? It's the same thing
Right.
with a toxic person or a narcissist. They repeat things to make you believe them, and that's like gaslighting, or they use gaslighting, which is making you believe something that's not true because they've said it enough. It's like it's a manipulation. All it is. That's toxicity. It's you know.
True.
So with all this being said, it takes time to heal. And with that also being said, if you've ever been in a toxic relationship, what did you do to heal? What kind of work did you put in to heal yourself? Or are you there? Have you healed?
Healing takes
No, I ain't
time.
trying.
Healing takes time. It definitely takes time, but ain't no other person gonna help you heal. So, but yeah, it definitely takes time.
Is my go?
Go ahead, whoever.
For me, I think healing is loving yourself, getting back in touch with yourself, because that's how I heal myself. Once you learn to love yourself, then you can really do anything.
The best thing I did was allow myself to feel those emotions. Go through, those lonely nights. Go through those hard times where you want to pick up the phone, talk to that person or whatever, but you don't. Um, Getting through those rough times is why it's easier, you know what I'm saying? Because once you go through it, you actually get it out. You know what I'm saying? Once you actually got it all out, then you're able, so to take the proper steps to be able to get yourself prepared for the next situation. But it definitely starts with you actually getting that situation out like fully. Because a lot of us sit here and say, "Oh yeah, I'm over this, that, and the third," and you're lying to yourself. And the moment that you even think about someone else, or you try to get to know someone else, it's the memories, the flashbacks. You know what I'm saying? Those old demons or whatever the case may be of the old person is there because you didn't take the time to actually get it out. So yeah.
Telling yourself the truth about something to counter lies you've been living and like constantly telling yourself. Yep. Mhm. So going back to an earlier question, or an earlier statement, we were talking about getting to know that person and asking the tough questions. What are some of the tough questions that you believe you should ask in the very beginning to avoid those toxic relationships? What are some of those questions that you should ask?
Do you want kids? Uh, are you crazy? Do you have history with the police? Like, is anger an issue for you? How do you handle your problems? How do you go about solving things? That's just some of the things I would ask in the past.
So after my background check is done, I get information and stuff. You know what I'm saying? One of the first questions I'm asking, it's going to be about religion. Other than that, I'm gonna leave with the children because, as I said, kids are important to me. My kids definitely important. Um, and one of the toughest things, I want to figure out, how it is with, how are you with separation? Because I do believe that one of the biggest things that leads to a toxic relationship is not being able to have that me time or that time to do the things that you were doing because people want to be so consumed with each other. But what you're not realizing is it's important to be able to take that time out to do whatever it is that you need to do, whether it's hooping, a hobby, hanging, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Time apart, that's healthy. As long as you're doing what you're supposed to do, respecting that person, there's nothing wrong with that. So I want to know how you feel about that. You know what I'm saying? Because there's certain shit I like to do. Ain't nobody stopping me from doing it. It's my time. It's my deal. Hey, I need my freedom. I need a little space. You know what I'm saying? I don't like to be smothered. Smothering is not good. So that's one of the big things for me also. Um, but that's just some of the biggest for me.
Okay, I was just trying to remember when y'all be talking long, I be forgetting what I be about to say.
My bad. My bad. I'm long winded.
No, you good. So I was gonna say, the first one for me is because like a lot of dudes, they think you trying to rush when you ask them, do they want to get married? So that's one. Because like you want to know if that person wants to get married or like what's the time frame they want to be married and stuff like that. And then another one for me is because nowadays, like, most people got kids. Most people my age got kids anyway. So it's like I'm gonna ask him, why are you and your baby mama not together? Like, because they probably may not want to talk about that, or they might still be dealing with that person. So yeah, that's gonna be a big question for me. Why y'all not together? Or even you and your ex, if you don't got kids, why y'all not together? That's it for me.
If you're just pulling up, this is the Red Room Talk every Saturday at 10 p.m. You have not missed it all, but you did miss some. You missed what are some of your toxic red flags, deal breakers? Why do people stay in toxic relationships? Toxic versus crazy, what's the difference? What is your definition of a toxic relationship? And can a toxic relationship be healed? Next up, I'm going to go ahead and go to the comments and let you ask the host, me, a question. I will pick one from the comments and allow you to ask me a hot seat question.
Can I ask one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so how do you distinguish between if it's your woman's intuition or if you just being paranoid based off like your past experiences?
Ooh.
It's a fine line. How do you
Where's my
know?
notepad? Where's my notepad?
It definitely is a fine line. I think it's that when it sits with you, through the day, it doesn't just sit with you for that moment. When you're thinking of this thing and it keeps sitting in your chest, right? Your stomach hurts. I feel like that's more than just women's intuition. That's your gut telling you something's not right. It's that fight or flight response. I don't know if you've ever heard, but that fight or flight response is a natural response your body gives to danger. When when your body turns into that fight or flight response and that danger hits your stomach, when your body is telling you something is not right, when your body is telling you something is not right, that's when I think you know the difference.
Yeah.
When your body naturally, like, your body will feel sick, like it's a natural. Now, just intuition, I think you're kind of hand in hand. I think your body just knows when something's not right. Your body just knows that something isn't right. Your body is going to naturally have that sixth sense, like, ooh, this don't feel good. You know, even myself, I've been in this situation where someone said something I didn't like, right? And normally you can kind of brush it off, but when I can't brush it off, when it sits in my chest, or it sits like in the pit of my stomach, and I'm over analyzing, and it keeps like reappearing in my mind, and I can't like let it go. I think that's when I kind of know the difference. If it's something I can't just shake off, because a lot of times people can say, comments, and I can shake them off pretty well. But I think when it doesn't feel right, when it's like, oh, something ain't right, your body's just going to tell you, like, no, no, I don't like that. No, sure did not like that. No, I don't like that. I think your body just naturally tells you. It's like a fight or flight response. When you're in danger and something's not right, and you just start running, and you're like, oh, I'm just going to start running too because everybody else is running. It's that fight or flight. When you feel like running from that person, like, you know what, I think that's just too much. And when you ignore that, I think that's when, kind of going back to the full circle, when you go back to, it kind of goes back to full circle in the beginning, that's when those toxic relationships are born. When you start ignoring the things you are not okay with. When you start ignoring the things you are not okay with, that is how narcissism and empaths and that beautiful narcissistic loving, they love that, right? They feed off of good people. That's when a toxic relationship is born. That's how it is created from.
But I think in relationships, I think it's gonna be some stuff you're not okay with. Like, it's from both parties.
Oh, yeah.
I think you got the choice to stay or not.
But when there's things you're not okay with, and it's like, okay, I'm driving down the street, right? And I keep passing these stop signs, and I'm not stopping, but I'm just gonna keep on going. Eventually, what's gonna happen? I'm gonna hit something.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hit that wall, and that
That's the
toxic
point.
relationship is something that I'm not okay with. It's when
Mhm.
you just keep going past those things that don't feel good. That first comment about your body. That first comment about your personality. That first little joke that wasn't such a joke. That's where it starts. Those little comments, those little nitpicky things, or those little things like, "Oh, you can't wear makeup," or them jealousy faux pas where it's real cute, right? Because I think in this society, jealousy is looked at like, oh, if he's jealous, he loves me. No, no, there's something wrong there, sis. You know, the higher you elevate your partner, the less you have to worry about them because you're elevating you are like, say good things to them. The things you would like to hear from yourself, say to your partner. You are beautiful. You're handsome. You're a great person. I love your personality. You're doing so great. Like, do to them the things that you would want reflected back to you. I'm a mirror of you, right? If you treat me good, I will treat you better. You know what I'm saying? The same things that you say to yourself or you want said to yourself, make sure you're doing that with your partner. But definitely take the time to heal those things that you know are not right in a relationship. Because if not, you are going to find yourself deep into a relationship 10 years down the road, and you're going to lose a lot of years that you could have been loved by a partner who treated you right.
I did.
So, if you're just pulling up, I'm sorry you've missed most of the fun, but we were talking about toxic relationships, different kinds of toxic relationships. Can it be healed? Yes, it can be healed with a lots of soul work. It's the work on yourself. And I'm going to give you guys a moment to go ahead and talk over anything that you've liked in the show or anything that you maybe want to bring back up before we go ahead and end with our quote of the show.
I
I do.
personally just want to say, know your worth. That's all I want to say. Just know your worth. That's what I picked up from pretty much the whole show. Just know your worth.
Know when it's time to leave. And don't play about yourself. You know what I'm saying? Don't play about you, your feelings. And know when it's time to go. Don't waste time because that's something we ain't going to get back.
Well, I was
Definitely.
just gonna say, there is a difference between toxic and crazy because I might be a little toxic, but I ain't crazy. I'm just saying. I'm
She
just
trying to
saying.
convince us
You
now,
still
y'all.
on that? You still on that?
I'm just saying.
I'll never tell. I'll
I ain't
find
done
you.
nothing.
R-
You ever see
I'm
that
not
movie? You ever see
crazy.
that movie?
Despite what they say about
I'll
RDS not
Sagittarius,
find
crazy
you.
2022.
despite what
He's
they say
from
about
Decatur.
Sagittarius, I'm not crazy.
Decatur.
And I think she's crazy.
And then I don't know if you've seen it in the
Don't
comments,
tell
but
me.
when I asked you that question, KLD was like, "You gotta go to Decatur for that
Oh, I seen it. I seen it. I sure did. He's from
Uh,
Decatur, where they're crazy down
Decatur.
there. They all float down here.
answer."
So to end the show, I've appreciated all of you being here. Go ahead and say your ending thing. Go to tell us a little bit about yourself at the end, and then I will end with the end quote. Welcome back, Tatted.
Sorry. Are
No
we doing
worries.
are we doing an ending question?
We already did.
Oh, just
It's okay.
kidding. Just kidding.
So go ahead and go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself. When I introduce yourself, I guess outro. Tell us a little about yourself before we go.
Oh, me? Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
We're
okay.
here.
I'm Tatted. I stream randomly every Saturday. I got the Tatted trials at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Normally I'm here on time, I promise. Technical difficulties, I apologize. But hey, to the hostess with the mostest.
Go ahead, RDS
Um,
ladies first.
okay, well, once again, I'm RDS, Rich Dark Skin. You can follow me on Instagram at Rich Dark Skin, all one word. And you can find me on YouTube. I'm a rapper, Ravo Ravo Space Music. And I mean, I said earlier I don't stream. I stream. Don't get me wrong. I stream every once in a while. So don't feel like you ain't gotta fade me because I fade you back and I go live every once in a while. But I'm mainly a supporter. But I don't have stream time. I'm a nurse outside of here, so I'll be kind of busy.
G-Way, no wait.
Well, yeah. Y'all already know G-Way No Way. Y'all check me out Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Hood Feud, which is the ghetto version of Family Feud. You know what I'm saying? We have good fun over there. Also Thursdays on the Getting Lit show, the longest running music show on the app. I'll be a judge over there. We be getting lit every Thursday, so make sure y'all come through, check it out. Pretty much I when I'm on the road, I stream from like 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So y'all hit me with the fave, check me out. If you do music, link up with me. You know, I love all music, all kinds of music. So y'all know what it is. G-Way, no way. Appreciate it, Jen.
Big OG
Rashad.
shot, heavy emphasis on the big. You know what I'm saying? I'll be out here in these streets. You catch me early morning. You know what I'm saying? 5 a.m. to about 8. You know what I'm saying? I'll be on here a nice little bit. Late nights, you know what I'm saying? I'm usually 10 to 1. I'm in here tonight because it's Red Room, baby. #1 show on tag. You know what I'm saying? We out here. We live, baby. You know what I'm saying? So,
We
hey,
live.
fade me. Pull up. I got big energy. You know what I'm saying? I'm really low key lit. You know what I'm saying? You'll never know unless you check me out. But I'm out here.
If you don't know already, I am Jen and Juice. This is the Red Room Talk every Saturday at 10 p.m. I'm going to go ahead and end with a quote. Healing takes courage, and we all have courage, even if we have to dig a little deeper to find it. Tori Amos. This is your girl, Jen and Juice, and this is the end of the show. Thank you guys for coming.
All love.
I'm saving everybody.
Untitled Sounds Production. What up, Sam?